Welcome to the Owatonna Today Show. My name is Betty Johnson. I will be your host for today, which is Wednesday, the 19th of September. So glad to have you along. Owatonna Today Show can be seen 6 days a week on Charter, Channel 8. Also, you can find us out there on the internet at bliptv.com, as well as YouTube and on Facebook. And if you friend us on Facebook there, you will receive notification when Leanne has updated the next program. Owatonna Today Show welcomes your comments and any suggestions you may have. You can contact Owatonna Today Show via email at owatonnatoday@charter.net or by calling the show's producer, Leanne Alt, at 390-5751. A good lineup of guests for you today. We're going to be talking with members from the Owatonna school system. Our first guest we will have will be Mark Randall, Pete Grant, and Nicole Adams. And on the other side of the break, we will be speaking with them. So please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Jody Voisin with the staff at Fairview Animal Medical Center, your other family doctor. Fairview Animal Medical Center is a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Today's fire safety message is on cooking safety, and what we'd like to touch base on is never leave your cooking unattended. Always attend to your cooking. Pot handles turned in. If something would happen to catch fire on the stove, have a lid handy that you could slide over and cover the pot. Reduce the heat, turn it off, and slide the pot back. Making sure you keep pot holders and that type of stuff off the cooking surfaces. And always maintain a clean cooking area, free of grease, and clean your ovens regularly. That is today's fire safety message from the Owatonna Fire Department.
Hi, we're Mark and Becky Stevens of the Owatonna Pizza Ranch.
And we support the Owatonna Today Show.
We are back, and we are talking with members from the Owatonna High School principal and acting superintendent. Is that your title? What is your official? We have Pete Grant with us.
Really, it's interim.
Interim, sure.
Right.
Okay, interim. And how did you get to be the interim? You're going to have that position throughout the whole school year?
Well, that's the plan. That's a good question. I started out being interim principal at the junior high in December, and I thought June 8th I'd be done working. But Dr. Tapper, I think, surprised some people when he decided to retire, and that was, I think, late April, early May. And, the board had to make a decision about what were they going to do. It's late in the game for going on a search.
Oh,
and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, I guess. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm very happy to be here. It's a great school district, and I'm working with some great people, so it's a good deal.
But you've been in the area before, though. I mean, you're not brand new to the Owatonna area, are
No.
you?
I was associate principal at the high school from 91 to 2002. Okay. So a lot of faces have gone, but a lot of them are still here, so it doesn't feel strange at all.
Well, the face next to you was there when you were, wasn't it?
Well, no, actually, Mark graduated the year before I started.
Okay.
But I do know of him, so.
Now, the year that you are going to be at the Owatonna High School, do you have any goals that you'd like to accomplish during that year?
Well, right now, the district, we're facing some financial difficulties, so I want to help the board get through another round of cuts. And then also make some plans about having a levy campaign for November of 2013. And then, make sure everything keeps going well. When I told them in May, when they interviewed me, I said, I'm not going to be babysitting. So we got things to get done. We got, students need learning, and we need staff that need support, and that's my job.
So what type of cuts are we looking at here that might have to happen this year?
Well, that is yet to be determined. Excess of $1 million again. And, we're just starting to put some preliminary ideas together, but we don't want to panic, and we don't want to do it at the last minute. We're going to have plenty of time to look at the entire program, all of our finances, make some tough decisions, but we have to look at balancing our budget. We're in the deficit spending cycle, and we have to stop that also, so we've got some work to take care of.
That seems to have been the norm lately, hasn't it?
Yeah. A lot of districts right now are facing this problem because our student population isn't growing. There are some pockets throughout the state that's different, but right now here at Owatonna, our state our student enrollment is fairly flat, and that's how we get extra money, is from the state.
Right,
So
yes.
we're spending more than we're bringing in, and we have to turn the corner on that.
But you knew that was coming, though,
Right.
didn't you? So, yeah.
Yeah, there's been, the forecast for our student enrollment has been fairly flat. We knew that. And we also knew that we were going to have to make some changes in our budgeting, and it's catching up to us, and we just have to get around it.
So are you talking about possibly personnel being cut? Or?
Well, you can't cut over $1 million without people being involved. And, that's going to be the hard part. Nobody wants to have their job taken away, and we certainly don't want to cut anybody. We're going to have to be creative and see how well we can come up with the right number.
And then that levy coming, too, is going to be quite...
Well, it'll be critical for the
Yes,
district in
getting
November of
that
2013. It'll be critical.
So, and Mark, sitting next to you, Mark Randall. Hello, Mark.
Hi,
Now, you are the principal.
I
years
am
after you've
at
been there.
Owatonna High School.
Yeah,
You bet.
Owatonna High School. Would you have thought that way back when you were in high school that you were going to be? Was that your goal, to be principal of the Owatonna High School someday?
No, probably not. Although as I got into college, I realized that I wanted to be in education and eventually be in some leadership positions and things like that. So it was probably a little bit after, I was in high school, but I know definitely some of my teachers at Owatonna High School and an elementary school were influential in me being in education and being in this profession.
Now, have you spent your entire career at Owatonna, or did you start elsewhere first?
No, I actually started in Eden Prairie teaching, and then I've been a principal in Austin and New Prague, and spent a little bit of time as assistant principal at the Owatonna Junior High as well.
Okay. What grades did you teach?
Oh, I've taught a bunch of different grades, but first grade, third grade, fourth grade, and a few different grades.
So now you're going for the older ones, huh?
That's right, absolutely.
So what is it now as principal? What is your job description, basically, and what would you hope to accomplish as principal?
Well, the job description is very broad. It depends on the day sometimes, and depends on the budget, as Pete was alluding to, and making budget cuts and difficult decisions. But it's very broad. I mean, we do a lot of work with our students in addition to a lot of work with our staff, obviously, in staff development, and really hopefully providing the teachers with the tools that they need to be successful in the classroom.
Now, you personally, do you have any personal goals that you would like to see accomplished as principal?
Well, we always have personal goals when we start out a school year, and I think one of the big things that we're working on, or will be working on throughout the course of the school year, is to really try to align our curriculum writing K-12, and we've been working on that for the last couple of years. And what that means is kind of aligning ourselves with the state standards and making sure that we have really what we call vertical alignment throughout the district. In addition to that, we're going to be working a lot on data and using data and to really drive the decisions that we make within the class, not just from the classroom standpoint, but all the way through when we make decisions for our school and make changes.
It's not so much hands-on as it is theory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically,
So
you
it's a
have
little bit
that.
of both. And again, I think for me as an administrator, and you'll talk to Nicole here too, we really want to provide our teachers with the tools that they need to be successful in the classroom. So that's really
not an
important
easy
to
job
us.
when you have funding's cut and standards from the state and things like that. So yes, you mentioned Nicole. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good. Nice to welcome you to Owatonna. You are not from the Owatonna area, are you?
No, I am
originally?
not. I'm brand new to Owatonna. I'm actually relatively new to Minnesota as well. I've actually only been here about 3 years. I actually grew up in the New England area and taught in Boston area schools, middle school and high school, 8th grade through seniors. I taught history and moved here about 3 years ago with my husband. He is a Minnesota native, and worked at Chanhassen High School for 2 years as Dean of Students.
What is the main difference that you see from the schools in Minnesota to the schools out east?
They're pretty minor for the most part. There are far more similarities than differences, but I will say Minnesota schools staff is incredibly professional. I see a lot of great teaching that goes on here. There's a high focus on rigor and I see schools really working to, as Mark said, to align to standards and really improve and work collaboratively to improve education for all of our kids.
What do you see is going to be your biggest challenge as assistant principal?
Well, you know, it takes a while to get to learn to know a school. So I'm really this year focusing on learning the culture, learning the climate of the school, and really working on building those positive relationships so that I can work collaboratively with teachers and students and parents.
Now, are you based out of Owatonna High School?
I'm at Owatonna High School, yes.
So has your predecessors given you any advice?
They have.
Everyone seems to okay, funny, we want to hear this.
Well, it's actually great working with Mark because he has a really unique perspective, being from Owatonna, but also having been away for a while, and having worked with elementary ages. It's been really helpful to kind of gain his perspective and really kind of pick his brain a little bit about Owatonna as a community. And I think one thing that's been clear is that there's an immense amount of pride in the high school and in the community here. So I'm really excited to be part of that.
So do you have a particular goal that you would hope to accomplish, especially for your first year? What is it you'd like to do?
I think my main personal goal is to really just work hard to really understand what the needs of our students and staff are, and do everything I can to work collaboratively with both students and staff to meet those needs.
Well, our guests today have been from Owatonna High School, interim, I've got to get that right, interim superintendent, Principal Mark Randall, and assistant principal Nicole Grant. We thank you for coming out here today and telling us a little bit about what is going to be happening at the school, just getting underway with the new school year. So it's going to be, everyone's going to be sitting, waiting and watching to see what can be done, because there are some challenges there. So we thank you for taking time out and telling us about that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Thanks for the invite.
Come back and give us kind of an update as to how
Absolutely.
things
Would
are
like to, yeah.
happening. Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So we're going to take this one last break, and then we'll be back with more personnel from the Owatonna school system.
Hi, this is Dave Efforts with TPS Insurance, and we are proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Mayo Clinic Health System in Owatonna invites you to the 10th Annual Women's Health Day. Celebrate the woman within. Saturday, October 13th from 7:45 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Holiday Inn and Suites. Listen to Dr. Matthew Camp, plastic surgeon, on the Total You. Learn from Ashley Noble about healthy diets throughout a woman's life. Wrap up with Renee Rongan, motivational speaker, and learn about the fundamentals of a female. Tickets are $5 each and will be on sale starting September 10th at the clinic on 26th Street. Thank you.
I needed more than just another dead-end job. I wanted a career, so I expressed myself.
With the kids off to college, I decided it was time for me to go back to work and express myself.
Express got me in touch with some really great companies. Now, I'm on my way to a great career.
Express Employment Professionals is in contact with thousands of companies in need of quality employees. Come in now and get the job you deserve.
Express yourself today.
Hi, I'm Doug Johnson with the Owatonna Business Incubator. We're here to help small businesses start and to grow. We're a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, my name is Dave Olson and I'm with R&K Electric, where we provide power to the people. We're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
We are back. We are talking now with more principals. This time we have principals and an interim principal from the junior high and from Willow Creek. First of all, we'll start with Jim.
Good morning.
Good morning. You are the interim
Correct.
principal at Willow Creek?
Correct.
So interim, how long is your interim basis? A year like Pete's?
Yes, for 1 year. Correct.
And how did that come to be? How did you get to be the interim?
Well, Amy Ledoux is the previous principal at Willow Creek, and she had a reassignment in the district. She's now the director of teaching and learning, and so it was kind of a, as with Mr. Grant, it was a little bit of a last-minute sort of situation. So I was asked for that, if I would like to assume that position.
So were you in a teaching position in the school district?
Yes, I've been teaching in Owatonna at the high school. I've been teaching high school math.
Oh, okay. For how many years?
12 years in Owatonna, 22 years overall.
Oh, my. Now, are you from the area originally? Are you from?
No, I taught in Plainview, Minnesota prior to this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's not far from here.
No, and Plainview is a K-12 building, so I had exposure
Much
to
smaller
kindergarten.
town school.
Yes,
Yeah.
quite a bit smaller.
So I'm sure it presented some different unique challenges as not only teacher, but probably in the principal role as well.
Yeah, it's quite enjoyable though. Yeah, definitely unique challenges, but very, very enjoyable.
Now, the Willow Creek is 1 grade, 6th grade. How does that differ from having to be principal for, the K through 5?
Well, I think one of the big things for the students, it's kind of a nervous time for a lot of kids, and it's also an exciting time because they've been in their neighborhood schools for 6 years, from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. So they've had that security, the same teachers, the same building, the same structures. And this is meant to be somewhat of a bridge between the elementary schools and the junior high, where we bring them all together from the 4 different elementary schools. So a lot of it, I think the big challenge is creating a sense of community, where we're bringing all the kids together, they're letting go of some of that security and try to establish a community before going on to the next stage
And
of the
they're such
junior
an
high.
in-between age. They're not old enough for a lot of things, and they're too old for what they've known.
Yeah, it's a wonderful age. There's a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement.
So I'm going to ask you what I've asked everybody else. What is your goals for the year that you are doing that interim?
Well, coming out of the gates, I think the goal for the entire school is, again, building that sense of community, because it has to start right away. Just setting a positive tone, making sure that everyone is moving forward in a positive fashion.
How do you do that? How do you set a positive tone?
We actually talk openly about it. We've done the 7 habits training and some leader and me type training. The students have been exposed to that for years now, so hopefully that's a large part of it. But the students, Mr. Grant was there the other day, the students, he got a chance to be exposed to their identity boxes. I remember when my daughter did that when she was in 6th grade. She still has hers. And it's a chance for the students to come in and just share anything about themselves. And
for someone who might not know, why don't you explain what an identity box is?
And it doesn't have to literally be a box, but it's an opportunity. A lot of the students bring in boxes, and anything is in there. They could have their favorite toys, things about them from Minnesota, things about their families, anything that they would like to share with others. And the classes all stop for a day, and they just stop and learn about each other. And they find that they all have common backgrounds in a way. They're all unique, but they all have very common backgrounds. They all have family they care about, and things they're interested in, and things they respect.
What a good idea. Your favorite things in the box, and they get to know about you as well.
It's hard to do that because we're in a situation where we have these students for 1 year, so we're doing a lot of testing for data to figure out where our strengths are, where weaknesses are, and we've got a lot of work to do with those students and to really pinpoint the data, because there's, quite honestly, academically there is a lot of work to do. But if you don't take a second to breathe, just to stop and to realize that we're all in the same boat, it can be a challenge, so we've got to do that.
So what's next for you when your year as being interim?
I think time will tell. I was with Mr. Grant. Time will tell. If at the end of the year, I could end up back at the high school in the math classroom again, or I could continue this. So time will tell. I truly don't know. Right now, I'm just enjoying the staff and the students and enjoying the experience.
So you're not looking at retirement yet, then?
Oh dear God! Yeah, not even close.
I wouldn't think so, but you never know.
That could follow the word in interim anytime.
Anytime. Okay. Well, now, Jason, you are not interim. You are the junior
principal.
high principal.
Yep.
And how long have you held that position?
Oh, we're what, about 2.5 months or so?
Something like that.
So you're brand new this year.
Yes.
And what was your background before that?
Previous to that, I began as a classroom teacher, dual licensed in social studies and English as a second language. And so I did that for a good number of years.
In the Owatonna school system or someplace else?
I'm brand new to Owatonna.
Oh.
So some of that happens in Utah, a little bit in Arizona, a lot of it in Shakopee. Actually, is where I did a great core of my teaching. From there, I was a dean of students at Moundsview High School, and then an assistant principal at John Glenn Middle School in Maplewood.
My goodness, you sound like you look almost too young to have all that background.
We started early, let's just say that.
So what brought you to Minnesota? You mentioned Utah and Arizona. What brought you to Minnesota?
My wife.
Oh, from Minnesota originally?
We both grew up in Utah, but her parents moved back here when she graduated from high school. And so we met back there in college. We were kind of exploring where we'd like to raise our family, and honestly, Minnesota just had this appeal to it that we couldn't deny. And so her parents are here also, which was a nice thing. And we moved back. We've been here about 9 years now.
9 years, okay. So yeah, you are much too young to have all that background. But now, what is it you hope to accomplish as principal at the junior high?
There's a good number of things I'd like to accomplish. I kind of walk a little bit into a difficult circumstance. I think a lot of the public knows, our previous principal, who was a wonderful, wonderful man, had passed due to cancer a couple months ago.
Kyle.
A lot of our staff members were very close to him, and he had some wonderful leadership there in the school, and they're big shoes to fill.
They are.
I hope to be able to get into those shoes and at least partway fill them this year. We want to come together as a true team by the end of the year and be able to be aligned towards some very specific goals in the school that have to do with student growth, increasing our MCA scores that are just slightly above state average right now. We'd like them to be higher than that. And then really diving deeper into some of the initiatives that we have going on. The Leader in Me, 7 Habits, and Stephen Covey training, and Inquiry, which I think is really going to have a lot of influence on the classroom and how we help students kind of think in different ways, which is needed in the society that we live in. It's just not about information that you know anymore. It's more about problem-solving skills, being collaborative, being creative, and bringing inquiry into the classroom is going to help develop some of those skills.
Things seem to change so rapidly. What you did probably 5 years ago is completely different now. Why do those changes happen? Do they see things that they probably somewhere someone that does a standard saw something that they didn't like and they change it this way and other things follow suit? How does that come to be?
Well, it's interesting. Honestly, I think when it comes to principles of education and learning, they've been around for a long time. Those core principles haven't changed. They might take different shapes, different names, different philosophies, and different angles on things. But the core principles have been consistent throughout quite a while. But our society is changing dramatically, and I think there's certain things we need to do to adapt to that. No longer can we be okay with graduating a percentage of our students to go and work factory-type jobs. Those jobs are leaving. The reality is you need to be ready for college. You need to have some college or post-secondary experience in order to provide for a family.
Well, I am, second to none in my admiration for teachers, the incredible difficult job you have, not just teaching the kids, but having to know the standards and adjust. Especially if you have a long career, you see a lot of changes. Now, Pete, I want to ask you, a few years ago, this is No Child Left Behind.
Right.
Where is that at?
Well, it's still here. Minnesota, though, applied for a waiver and was able to get one. So they're kind of on their own path here as far as student accountability, but it's, it took a long time to understand No Child Left Behind and the consequences of doing well or doing poorly and then maybe doing well. The data today is now MMR, and it's another terminology we need to learn. Just as we get to understand MCAs and so forth, and the data we're getting, the measurements are changing. But at the end, as Jason said, it's still the same as we need to keep pushing our students to be higher achievers.
Why do they change the measurements? Is something wrong with the ones before?
No, it's just that, there was too much punishment with No Child Left Behind if you didn't meet a certain standard. Well, I don't think it's good to put, you can use the carrot or the stick. Well, the stick seemed to be not achieving what we wanted it to. And Minnesota is trying to find out if there's a better way of improving student achievement without so many penalties involved. And it's going to take time. It isn't going to happen in 1 year, that's for sure.
That was never favored. Even Palenti was really against that, wasn't he, years ago on that too?
It seems like about every 5 to 7 years a new plan comes out to try and figure out, are we doing our jobs or not? And we have to do what we have to do according to state statute and laws.
So many challenges with teachers.
Definitely.
You don't have to only deal with the children and the parents and personal things and all that going on. So we wish you great success and with your challenges during the coming school year, and I'd like to invite you back too and keep us updated on what's going on.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you. Our guests have been, I will make sure we get this right, Pete Grant, who's again the interim superintendent, along with Jason Hunt and Jim Kiefer. We have this one last break, and then we'll come back with a quick wrap-up. So please stay with us.
Hi, Warren Abraham, Abraham Consulting Technologies, your one-stop technology shop. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Hello, I'm Sean McNulty with Brookdale Senior Living, Sterling House in Clarebridge, and we're a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
In 2011, United Way funded programs provided services to over 10,000 Owatonna residents. For the second consecutive year, the vast majority needed help to meet their most basic needs: food, clothing, housing, and safety. United Way of Steele County is able to sustain a safety net of direct services, prepare our children for the future, and provide seniors with support to age in place due to the generosity of our community. Please make a donation to United Way again this year. Our neighbors are counting on us, and we are counting on you.
We are back. We do thank you for joining us today. We do have some announcements that we'd like to pass along that would be very helpful to learn. To begin with, on September 19th, of course that is today, we'll be preventing soft tissue injuries at the SCSC meeting. It is coming up at 11:30. That is coming up very quickly until noon, 1 o'clock presentation. And that is at the Elks Club at 126 East Vine in Owatonna. And coming up on September 21st at the Owatonna Arts Center will be the Americana Concert with Sally Barris, Ben Kyle of Romantica, and Brandon Sampson. The Americana Concert is a triple header with a songwriter and performers, Sally Barris, Ben Kyle of Romantica, and Brandon Sampson, all on stage. The cabaret seating will create an intimate setting for an evening of music. Coming up this Friday, September 21st at 7 o'clock. Tickets are $25 and they are available at the Arts Center and at Kotke's. It is limited. Sally Barris has been described as having an expressive mountain soprano voice and just released a CD entitled Restless Soul, a testament to her love of Celtic music. Ben Kyle of Romantica will also take the stage. Romantica has just recently returned from the European tour and has a new release called America on Vinyl. So that is all coming up again this Friday at the Owatonna Arts Center. For more information, you can contact the Arts Center as well. So we do thank you once again for joining us. We have time for one more? Oh, great. Okay, Culture Fest. That is coming up. You can celebrate on Saturday, the 22nd. You don't want to miss that from 10:30 until 4:30. Culture Fest unites music and dance, talents, ethnic foods, authentic merchandise, lots of fun and activity for many ages, and that has been going on for several years. You'll want to check that out as well. That is Culture Fest, multicultural time to celebrate all kinds of ethnic backgrounds. So that should do it. We thank you for joining us once again today. Please join us on Friday. My name is Betty Johnson. This is the Owatonna Today Show.